Why do people love Skyrim? This is a game that came out 12 years ago and yet still reaches 30,000 players on Steam daily. And that's without counting the other 8,000 things it was released on. I'm shocked the KFConsole doesn't even have a Skyrim port yet. So what is it about the game? Graphics, replayability, storyline? Surely there's a reason that it's still released constantly. Let me tell you a story real quick. Like many kids, when I was younger, I would do odd jobs around the neighborhood and the complex just to get a little bit of cash. And the best thing about child labor is it's cheap. So I'd get a couple bucks for helping people out, and I'd also ask if they want to donate to needy children. The needy child being me. Once I had saved up some money, my grandma took me to GameStop and I saw Skyrim. The trailer for this game was so cool to me. This massive Nordic warrior taking down a dragon, hacking, slashing, yelling. That's the coolest thing to a kid. The sheer number of fan animations and skits from Skyrim alone is monstrously high. I remember there was this guy who would post real-life Skyrim videos of him running around and casting magic, playing with his inventory. I remember seeing Harry Partridge, his Skyrim video, and not understanding what an erection is. I remember Dan Bull spitting absolute dragonfire bars. So I shelled out all my kid money to buy this game, and I still don't regret it. I'd spend hours in character customization, and my first ever character was a Khajiit, because the idea of sneaking around and assassinating people was cool. Also because of his massive cat Anyway, I dumped hours and hours into this thing on the 360, and then again on the school computer. Then I bought the special edition. Then I bought it on PlayStation 4. Then I bought it on Steam. Then I bought it on PSVR. Then I bought it on PC VR. Out of the 15 times this game was released, I bought it like 8 times. But why did I do that? Why did most people do that? Because it's just that good. Although to be real, it's a little criminal for a game to get away with this so many times with generally just minor bare bones updates. Skyrim wasn't the first open world game, but it was definitely one of the best. You could find entire quest lines just running around the woods, or a shack in the middle of nowhere with an evil vampire who's been kidnapping people. Santa Claus, the Headless Horseman, Minecraft, Excalibur. Yes, Skyrim was a massive open world. But unlike a lot of games, it didn't feel empty, especially when the DLCs were added. The appeal of Skyrim is that when you pop into the game, there's no limit on what to do. You're directed to the closest town and that's it. You can just pick a random direction and go with absolute freedom. This level of freedom is followed by random NPC encounters you can have in cities, woods, anywhere you could think of. Climbing the top of a frozen mountain, only to get interrupted by a postman who's delivering your Playboys is just a goofy moment. And I like to imagine he's a greater warrior than the Dragonborn who just has a very strong passion for delivering mail. Not to mention, I committed my first ever hate crime in this game against Nazim. Good times, good times. When it comes to your build, you can do anything you want. Any situation, you can choose how to handle it, and you're not limited by your build because you can level up whatever skills you want. Except the alteration tree. That tree sucks. It doesn't do anything. Want to be a mage? Be a mage. Necromancer? Be a necromancer. Sneaky archer? Boom. Assassin? Done. Two-handed Nordic warrior? Absolutely. John Cena? I'd be offended if you didn't. The limits are quite literally endless. Personally, I have a habit of role-playing as characters when I start up a new game. And I remember one of my earlier characters was a character named Thor, who was a blonde Nord that only used heavy armor with no helmet, two-handed hammers and axes, with lightning enchants and lightning spells. For most of the quests, the game offers the flexibility to tackle a problem however you want, and some of them can be just as funny, like when the Daedric princes get involved, where you start reliving the movie The Hangover. Even little dialogues and side quests can be goofy, like the one where you meet an Argonian drug addict and you steal skooma for him. That's just absolute gold. I remember my uncle and I would send videos to each other. I like that. We would send videos of each other killing the preacher in Whiterun in the goofiest ways or seeing how far we could snipe him from the map. However, as much as I love this game, and I say this with at least 1,000 hours of gameplay, the combat can get stale. Not to mention, the difficulty slider just makes things impossible to kill and light breezes one-shot you. It's a game where you make your own fun. Plus, it's the first game I got lated. Through thick and thin, Lydia was always by my side with her sassy attitude and massive, thick inventory space. but we all know Serrano was the #1 choice. Bethesda knocked it out of the park with modding. Skyrim is one of the very few games that actually welcome modded. They even supported it officially. Even if you can't get some of the best mods on console, you're able to make the game significantly better. One of the best things about modding Skyrim is that Skyrim base game had a lot of foundation laid for strong classes, lore, and shouts that were never really expanded upon. Mods fixed that though and fully fleshed out these aspects of the game that weren't touched on. Plus, I was finally able to marry Serrana and do this. Honestly, at this point, Skyrim's less of a game and more of a game engine. If you thought you had freedom in Skyrim before, now we're on an entirely different level. Tired of Skyrim's bugginess? Somebody fixed it. Bad lighting or empty forests? Somebody's done it. Lame water physics? Boom. Bland looking characters? Now it's an anime. In a world where you can already do everything, the ability to mod stuff cranked that from a 10 to a million. Look at these two games. These are the same games. This is like shoving a rocket missile into a tiny pistol. You basically just mod Skyrim into Dark Souls. Bonus NPCs and followers that can expand on lore and delve into it without having to read every little book you find, while also offering 50 times the dialogue options. Modding really changed the game. Now you even have people limit testing with artificial intelligence and Skyrim, in which NPCs will remember previous conversations and act accordingly, with many mods allowing voice chat, open voice chat, to boost immersion. Not to mention the virtual reality mods, which, ooh, that's a whole nother video. There's different tiers of Skyrim modding to me. There's Vanilla Plus, Immersion Overhaul, Goofy Haha mods where you start hanging out with Thomas the Tank Engine and Master Chief, and a not Skyrim. The final tier is when the game is so modded, it's debatable if it's even Skyrim anymore. Quite literally, nothing is recognizable. It could still be fun though. Now, my favorite mod personally is Skyrim Together. Skyrim Together is what the name states. Skyrim, but you're with your friends and you can all F off into the wilderness and never see each other. Or quest together and even PvP together. Honestly, Bethesda missed out on making Skyrim a potentially co-op game, but the people fixed it. I would argue that modders in the community care more about Skyrim than the creators ever have and ever will. Nobody would bother modding a bad game. Skyrim is an example of what happens when you mod something that's already great into something otherworldly. If there's any part of Skyrim you don't like, I promise you there's a mod to make it the perfect game. It'll go down as my favorite game, and I hope it goes down as yours.